All right, ladies and gentlemen, I believe we are live. I'm going to make sure that all of my sound settings are proper and correct here. I think we're good. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all very much for tuning in today. We are live right now on YouTube and on Rumble. Matt Morris TV here and Matt Morris TV there. Thank you, everybody. Today is a lovely, really a splendid Tuesday evening, Tuesday afternoon. Now, folks, before we really get into today's show, before I even tell you what we're talking about today, I do want to say that this is going to be my last broadcast for the next 3, maybe 4 days. As you can see behind me, I've been packing up my office. We are moving from Washington to Idaho tomorrow morning. So I'm going to be gone for 3 or 4 days. I'm not going to have any videos or any live broadcasts. So this is going to be the last show for a couple days. So, hey, thank you everybody for tuning in today. Let's try to make it a good one. Now, folks, ladies and gentlemen, today, I'll be totally honest with you. We have some good news today that we're going to talk about, and we also have some bad news today, maybe bad news today that we're going to talk about, although I think we can maybe turn this bad news into some good news if we all get active and talk about it and let our opinions and our voices be heard, which is why we're going to talk about it today. So we have kind of some nice news, some not so nice news. And then because today is going to be kind of a special show, it's my last show for the next 4 days or so, I think I'm going to have a little surprise at the end for you guys. In about 45 minutes, the SpaceX rocket is going, the big one, the massive one, is going to be launching. And I thought it would be cool to watch that live with you guys. But if we want to do that, we've got to talk about the news first. So ladies and gentlemen, what do you say we talk about the good news? Then we're going to talk about the bad news. Then we're going to relax at the end. All right, let's go through it, folks. Thank you all very much for tuning in. So first off, the good news. Ladies and gentlemen, President Trump had a cabinet meeting earlier this morning. And man, I really wish I was live with you guys for that. It slipped through the cracks. If I had known about it, I would have, but I didn't. And so here we are now. We're going to try to do a little bit of a tiny bit of a recap. Dee Willingham, thank you very much. I appreciate that. It's a super chat, says, good luck, safe travels with the move. Thank you very much, Dee. I appreciate that super chat. Take a look at this. Thank you very much. This is from Bessent, who is our U.S. Treasury Secretary. He says, our revenue for the year generated from President Trump's trade tariffs could be topping $500 billion. This is almost 2 times more than what the experts had been predicting just 5-6 months ago. So let's go ahead and break this down. As it would turn out, much to some people's surprise, probably not our surprise. If you guys are tuning into this channel, we all know the tariffs have been going very well. We all knew 7-8 months ago the tariffs were going to go well because we all are smart people here. U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said Tuesday that customs duty revenues from President Donald Trump's tariffs may surpass $500 billion this year, $500 billion, with a substantial jump from July to August and a likely bigger jump to come as we move on into September. It is August 26th, if you can believe it. Summer's almost over. Wow. Bessent told a White House cabinet meeting that his prior estimate of a $300 billion annual tariff revenue was too low. So he said, listen, previously, a couple months ago, they were thinking it's going to be $300 billion. Now we're thinking it's going to be closer to $500 billion, maybe even surpassing $500 billion. By the way, listen, guys, ladies and gentlemen, folks, we are $37 billion. Sorry, trillion. We are $37 trillion in national debt right now. Our deficit, which means that is the rate at which we are taking on more debt. So our deficit every year is 1.6 trillion. So guys, President Trump's tariffs, we were going from 0 tariff revenue generated 9 months ago when Joe Biden was in the White House to now Trump is in the White House, from 0 tariff revenue generated to 500 billion. That's $500 billion tariff dollars generated per year. 0 to $500 billion. What's the difference? President Trump is in the White House. So that is already reducing our national deficit by 1/3. And so when you combine all the other stuff, listen, all of the tariffs aren't even in effect yet. There's more to come. We're not done with all these trade deals yet. Some of them, yes, but some of them, no. Also, Trump is unleashing the domestic American economy, American energy infrastructure, bringing back American manufacturing, et cetera. And so, listen, Trump is not only cutting out waste and fraud and abuse in our federal budget. This is what the Department of Government Efficiency was doing, and they did cut out a lot. They still are. Not a lot of people talk about the DOGE anymore, but they are still kind of plugging along, finding waste and fraud and corruption and abuse here and there. They're cutting it out day by day, still to this day. Beyond that, he's revitalizing the domestic American economy, unleashing the American energy sector, bringing back millions of American jobs, making all these trillion-dollar trade deals with foreign countries, and also, along the way, collecting now $500 billion per year, maybe more, in tariff revenue. So if you want to talk about, man, we have so much national debt. What are we going to do? How are we going to get out of this national debt? This is what it looks like. This is what it looks like. President Trump's entire economic plan is to grow our way out of the debt. Yeah, we can penny pinch. We can cut things out of the federal budget. Yeah. But really, what's the best way to do it? Hello? Just make more money. We can try to save money here and there. Yeah, sure. But what if we just started making way more money, right? To start paying our bills, so to speak. So that is the President Trump approach. Guess what? It's working. Let's keep on reading here. Bessent told earlier today at a White House cabinet meeting that his prior estimate of $300 billion annual tariff revenue was too low. It's going to be closer to $500 billion. We had a substantial jump from July to August, and I think we're going to see an even bigger jump from August to September, Bessent said. So I think we could be on our way well over $500 billion, maybe towards $1 trillion number. Maybe we're heading towards $1 trillion number. That's a big number. This administration, your administration, has made a meaningful dent in the budget deficit. Now, flashback to June, about a month and a half ago, we had a report come out, folks. June was the first individual month in which we had a budget surplus. We had a federal budget surplus. I don't really see anybody in the mainstream media talking about this, but I'm keeping an eye on all the numbers here. Every month I read this stuff. I'm maybe one of the few people that actually reads all of the monthly reports when they come out. In June, our federal government had a $27 billion budget surplus. That means the federal government made $27 billion. Why? President Trump's tariffs. Now, this is the first time a single month has had a budget surplus since early 2017. You know who was also in the White House in early 2017? Can you guess? Do you remember? It was President Trump. And so you don't have to be a genius to understand what's going on here. President Trump's economic policies, guess what? They do work. They do work despite all of the experts on CNN and MSNBC and ABC and whatever, President Trump's economic policies, they do work bigly, bigly. Okay, let's keep reading. He said we're going to be on our way to the $1 trillion number. This administration, your administration, has made a meaningful dent. Tariff revenue would offset the deficit increases triggered by the Republican tax cut and spending bill passed this year. CBO estimated this bill would widen the deficit by $3.4 trillion over the next decade. By the way, the CBO, this is the Congressional Budget Office. They issued that projection a couple months ago. About a week ago, they issued a new one. They reneged on all of that. Now, actually, they think the CBO came out and said about a week ago, all of the economic activity that's going to be stimulated as a consequence of the big, beautiful bill, we actually think it's going to help the economy. We changed our minds. So imagine this, the CBO for weeks and for months before the big, beautiful bill got pushed through Congress, pushed through Senate and passed, they were saying, oh, it's going to be so bad. Oh, it's going to be terrible. Oh, it's the worst thing ever. It's going to destroy the economy. After it got passed, they said, actually, it's going to be okay. Actually, everything is going to be okay. In fact, it's going to be good. Imagine that. The CBO. Trump's tariffs drove July U.S. customs duty collections, that's tariff revenue, up by nearly $21 billion from the $7 billion collected in July of 2024, and about even with the $20 billion increase registered in June. Significant increases in tariff rates for nearly all trading partners kicked in on August 7th. Once again, remember 5, 6, 7 months ago, all of these economic geniuses, all of these Einsteins, they were saying that Trump's tariffs were going to be nothing more than a tax on the consumer. Do you remember when Bloomberg, this is like 5 months ago, Bloomberg actually issued it was this official projection on the front page of their magazine, on the front page of their website. They were projecting that in 2025, President Trump was going to drive us into a depression. This is Bloomberg, not a recession. All of the economic experts, all the geniuses, they're so much smarter than people like you and me. They were saying we're going to have a depression. That's what they were projecting. Well. Let's keep on reading here. Man, weren't they wrong? The U.S. Treasury reported on Monday that as of August 22nd, the government had collected $29.6 billion in combined customs and excise taxes so far during August. The month isn't even over. By the way, John, we are going to watch that here pretty soon. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Good to see you. Thank you. Bessent also noted that the Congressional Budget Office's upwardly revised estimate last week of federal revenue from Trump's tariffs, forecasting that it could reduce federal deficits by $4 trillion over 10 years. This is what I was talking about. You didn't believe me. There it is. The CBO, they changed their mind. They said that actually, we think that everything Trump is doing is going to reduce our deficit by $4 trillion over 10 years. Would you believe that? Who could have predicted such a thing? The latest CBO estimate marks an increase from June when it forecast that revenue from the new tariffs would actually reduce deficits by $3 trillion. They keep on bumping up the number. Okay, and so folks, this is the big takeaway here, is that President Trump's economic policies, guess what? They work. They're working phenomenally. So this really is the big good news of the day. Now, however, like I said, there was some bad news, kind of, that I do want to talk about with you guys, but I want to preface this. I'm going to have this up on the screen here. The title of this article here is Trump Ignites Conservative Backlash After Opening Door for 600,000 Chinese Students. What is this madness? I don't know how dialed in a lot of you guys are on X or Twitter, seeing what people are saying on the internet. I'm not sure, but I'll tell you what, for the last 24 hours, this has been the talk of the town. This news has been going viral, and by viral, I mean a lot of conservatives have been pissed off about this. Now, I retain a little bit of optimism here, and I'll tell you what, the reason why is because anytime the Trump administration floats something bad, something that's maybe not the best idea, what oftentimes happens is people like you and people like me, people like us, we patriotic Americans, we let our voices be heard, as we should. That's, in my opinion, that's our patriotic obligation, is to let our leadership know what we think about what they're doing, about what's going on. And so Trump, to his credit, he has always been very receptive to what we say, to what his constituents say, to what the MAGA movement has to say. And so my plan is to complain about this, honestly. I've been doing that for the last day, and I think it's worth talking about and saying, hey, listen, no, we don't like this, but why don't we really break down the entire situation? But before we do, because maybe some of you don't know exactly what the deal is, we're going to break this down here. I want to say, John ZT, 1999, massive super chat on YouTube. We are Matt Morris TV on YouTube, Matt Morris TV on Rumble. Shout out the Rumble guys and shout out the YouTube guys. Everybody, let's get into this. Let's take a look. Trump ignites conservative backlash after opening door to 600,000 Chinese students. President Donald Trump's plan to allow 600,000 Chinese student visas to be issued drew strong criticism from the right on Monday and Tuesday. The proposal comes as the president is amid trade talks with China, and backers of the plan could be necessary to keep certain universities afloat, whereas others say it could hinder the opportunities for American students. Well, first off, yeah, I mean, there are only so many spots in the university system, in the universities. If you have 600,000 Chinese students, if this is a zero-sum game, you necessarily have 600,000 fewer American students. We have American students that could use a good education. We have American students that need to go to, listen, maybe we don't need to talk about this too much, but listen, guys, we all know what's been going on for the last 20 or 30 years. Can we just be honest? Let's cut the bullshit here. White men have been systematically discriminated against in the university system. Okay, spots that have sort of been meritocratically earned by young, white, intelligent men have been given to foreigners and minorities. This is the truth. We don't need to lie about it. Let's have an adult conversation. And so I don't really want to hear that we need to have 600,000 Chinese students coming into our universities when for the last 30 years, white men have been getting not accepted to universities by merit of their race and gender. Okay, so I'm not exactly in the mood to hear about how we need so many Chinese students. Now, this is what President Trump had to say about this just the other day. Take a look. This is yesterday afternoon. This is the little video clip here that sort of kick-started all of this drama. Let's go ahead and play this.
President Xi would like me to come to China. It's a very important relationship. As you know, we're taking a lot of money in from China because of the tariffs and the different things. And it's a very important relationship. We're going to get along good with China. I hear so many stories about we're not going to allow their students. We're going to allow their students to come in. We're going to allow, it's very important, 600,000 students. It's very important. But we're going to get along with China. But it's a different relationship that we have now with China. It's a much better relationship economically than it was before. With Biden, boy, what he allowed that, I mean.
So there's the number, 600,000. Now, a lot of people, like I said, this clip is from yesterday. A lot of people were maybe thinking, did President Trump misspeak? Is this a misquote? Maybe he meant to say 6,000. Maybe he meant to say 60,000. No, he said 600,000. He actually talked about it again this morning. We're going to play that clip here in a minute. Now, as a little bit of a frame of reference here, in 2024 and also 2023, the U.S. Admitted around 277,000 Chinese students. 277,000. So what Trump is proposing here is increasing the Chinese student visa allotment by over a factor of 2. By over a factor of 2. It's like times 2.5 or something like that. That's a big increase. That's a pretty big increase. Let's keep on reading through the article here and really try to get to the bottom of this situation before we try to really break all this down. Okay, so he said, we're going to allow their students to come in. It's very important. 600,000 students. It's very important. That's the clip that we just played. Now, Trump, at his cabinet meeting this morning, doubled down on this same number of 600,000. This is just a couple hours ago. I'm going to play this for you guys here.
Look, we're getting along very well with China. And I'm getting along very well with President Xi. I think it's very insulting to say students can't come here because they'll go out, they'll start building schools, and they'll be able to survive it. But I like that their students come here. I like that other countries' students come here. And you know what would happen if they didn't? Our college system would go to hell very quickly. You'd have, and it wouldn't be the top colleges. It would be colleges that struggle on the bottom. And you take out 300,000 or 600,000 students out of the system. I like having, and I told this to President Xi, that we're honored to have their students here. Now, with that, we check and we're careful and we see who's there, and Marco wants that. We're in the same position. But we have a tremendous college system, the best in the world, nobody even close. That's why China sends them here. And you can call it an industry if you want, but you're talking about millions of people. And I'm honored to have the students from China come here, and we're just getting along very well.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, a couple thoughts here. University admittance costs in this country in just the last 20 years, I'm 31. In just the last 20 years, the cost of attending university in this country have increased by around 400%. 400% price increase. This is far outpacing the rate of inflation. University is more expensive. It's less affordable than it has ever been in the history of this country. Going to university is incredibly hard these days without taking on a ton of debt or without coming from a rich family that can pay for it for you. Your parents, they save up money, they pay for it for you. So if I am to believe, if I, like, so I'm just, once again, cut the bullshit. I'm going to have an adult conversation, or I'm sorry if I hurt anybody's feelings. If any of these universities are so grossly over leveraged that if that they will go out of business if they don't get access to 600,000 Chinese students, if in the absence of these foreign Chinese students, they're going to go out of business, then you know what? They should go out of business. They have jacked up tuition costs by 400% in the last 20 years. And if they're still unable to maintain themselves in the absence of 600,000 foreign students, then you know what? They deserve to go out of business. What this is what we're talking about here, letting 600,000 Chinese kids in the country. This is effectively a government bailout for all of these universities. We're saying, hey, listen, if the government doesn't get involved here and allow 600,000 Chinese students to come in the country and pay tuition and keep these universities afloat, then 15% of them, that's the number he gave, then 15% of the universities are going to go out of business. Okay, who gives a shit? Let them go out of business. These universities have been complicit in screwing over this country for decades now. Why do you expect me to care about this? Why is this my problem? In fact, I hope some of them, I hope 15% of them go out of business. I do not care. That's my opinion. So that's how I feel. Now, we're going to keep reading the article here. I'm sorry. Sorry about this. Okay, let's keep on reading. Also, listen, by the way, this is aside of all of the issues that China has been involved with over the last couple decades. We have a list here. Guys, I actually did some research before I went live on today's broadcast. In just the last 5 years, we have caught 5 individual Chinese students spying on the United States or transferring sensitive information from their universities back to the CCP. 5 years, 5 Chinese student spies working on behalf of the CCP, relaying information back to the CCP. Beyond that, the CCP is actively buying farmland all across the entire country next to, very curiously, all of our military bases. They're guilty of every single thing relating to the COVID-19 pandemic. They created it, they released it, they lied about it, and then after COVID had swept across the entire world, what did they do? They hoarded all of the medical personal protective equipment for themselves. They said, oh, America, are you guys suffering from the pandemic that we created, that we released, that we lied about? Well, that sucks for you, but all of the medical equipment, that's ours. That's what the CCP did just 4 years ago. On top of that, this is where things get a little bit crazy. Here's a bombshell story. I don't know how many of you guys have heard about this. In 2015, the acting U.S. attorney, a guy named Joseph McNally, determined that China, this is nuts. This is true, though. Fact check me on this. In 2015, the acting U.S. attorney determined that China was abusing our birthright citizenship process. They were paying American mothers, to give birth to Chinese babies via IVF treatment. Chinese egg, Chinese sperm implanted in an American citizen mother. The American citizen mother gives birth to a Chinese CCP baby, because the sperm and the egg is coming from CCP party loyalists over in China. They're giving anywhere from $50,000 to $60,000 to American mothers to give birth to CCP babies so that future CCP agents will have American citizenship. And this is not a conspiracy. The official right now, our modern government right now, this initial report came out in 2015. Right now, our current government, I did the research on this morning. They project that there have been 60,000 instances of this in the last 10 years. In the last 10 years alone, China has purchased citizenship through means of IVF and birthright citizenship for 60,000 CCP babies. Okay, so China is an enemy. China is a threat. I do not want... Listen, even if we didn't have university problems here and lack of education problems for American citizens in our own country, etc., even if we didn't have any of those other problems regarding our education system, still, I'm sorry, call me whatever mean name you want. I do not care. I personally don't want 600,000 Chinese students coming in the country. They've got a pretty bad track record. Also, I don't know if you guys know this. I think it's called Article 7 of, the Chinese Communist Party. They have their own legislation and laws, whatever, and bills. Okay, they have a policy in the CCP. This was passed 3, maybe 4 years ago. It states every single Chinese citizen, in accordance with what is effectively their CCP constitution, every single Chinese citizen has to act as an informant for the CCP. And if they don't give whatever information they want to the CCP, then that Chinese citizen can be criminally punished. So the CCP can say, hey, listen, Chinese student, you need to tell me every single thing you know, because if you don't, whenever you come back to China, we're going to arrest you or throw you into a camp or kill you or whatever. And so literally, and I wish this was not the case, but it is, like literally, you can look up the legislation, it's CCP legislation, look it up. Every single Chinese citizen is a legally obligated informant for the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party. Okay, so this is a recipe for disaster to allow 600,000 of them into the country. I'm sorry. Last year, we had 277,000. The year before that, in 2023, we had 277,000. We shouldn't even have that many. But doubling it, over doubling it, going from 277 up to 600, that's just beyond the pale. I have to say, I have to speak out on this. As a patriotic American, I feel like I have to speak out on this. Isaac H., super chat in the YouTube chat. He says, to give perspective here, I'm Alaskan. The entire state has 700,000 people. Many of those are snowbirds, military or traveling workers. He's talking about more Chinese into here than the population of my state. I'm very unhappy with this. It's a lot of people. It's a lot of people. It's a lot of people. We have another super chat here. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. This is White Wolf. He says, here come the spiders to think we're alarmed about CCP. It's a big problem. I appreciate that a lot. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Trump imported 600,000 spies to America and MAGA is still coping. It's okay. Well, no, here's this. This is where I'll take a point of contention. He has not done it yet. We are in the talking stage. We are not in the doing stage yet. To President Trump's credit, on numerous occasions over the last 5, 6, 7 months, and also during his first term, Trump has said something that maybe not everybody agrees with. Some of his base disagrees with what he said or somebody in his administration said. They float an idea that people don't like. Okay, the base, that's us right now. We get riled up. We say, hey, Trump, we're not a fan of this. We don't want you to do this. Importing 600,000 Chinese students in order to bail out a bunch of underperforming universities that are over-leveraged, financially over-leveraged, that's not America first. We don't like that. That's not America first. That's not what we voted for. And so, once again, Trump has a very strong track record of listening to his base. If the base complains enough, that's me, that's us, that's what we're doing right now. There is a strong track record of if we complain, if we whine a little bit, if we raise our voices, as is our patriotic obligation to do so. That's my opinion. Trump is receptive oftentimes. So that's really what we're doing right now. This has been going viral on Twitter, on X, on all the social media sites, everybody. In fact, listen, you want to know how it's bad? Laura Ingraham on Fox News had Howard Lutnick on her show last night, and even Laura Ingraham on Fox News last night was like, hey, listen, what the hell is going on here? Take a look.
An issue, Mr. Secretary.
I want to turn up the audio. It's a little bit quiet. Okay.
An issue, Mr. Secretary, for, I think, the base of the Republican Party, certainly for the Ingraham angle for many, many years, conservatives, is this idea of foreign students coming to the United States and taking spots that would normally be, obviously open to American students. The president addressed this issue as part of the Chinese trade deal, which might be in the offing. Watch.
We're going to get along good with China. I hear so many stories about we're not going to allow their students. We're going to allow their students to come in. Yep. We're going to allow, it's very important, 600,000 students. It's very important.
Mr. Secretary, with all due respect, how is allowing 600,000 students from the communist country of China putting America first.
Together in order to.
Well, the president's point of view is that what would happen if you didn't have those 600,000 students is that you'd empty them from the top. All the students would go up to better schools, and the bottom 15% of universities and colleges would go out of business in America. So his view is he's taking a rational economic view, which is classic Donald Trump, looking at higher education and saying,
but why are you
until
helping
we
Harvard?
modify.
She says, "Why are you helping Harvard?" Listen, here's the deal. So this is the Howard Lutnick argument that he is saying is the Trump argument, is that if we don't bring in these 600,000 Chinese students, that the bottom 15% of American universities will go out of business. Does anybody buy for a second that all of these 600,000 Chinese students are going to the bottom 15% of American universities? No, these Chinese students are not going to our worst universities. They are coming to the country to go to our best universities. They are going to Harvard. They're going to Yale. They're going to the top universities. They're going to Berkeley. That's where they're going. They're not going to, I went to a community college for 2 years, a long time ago. They're not going to our community colleges like me. That's not where they're going. Okay, they're going to the top schools. So first off, I just don't buy this. Second off, I have to say, once again, man, tuition costs in this country have risen by 400% in 20 years, far outpacing the rate of economic inflation. The universities are greedier than ever. They are so greedy. They are taking advantage of this entire situation. So I'm not really in the mood. In fact, these universities have been pricing out American students, hoping that the government will give them student visas for China and India and whatever. Listen, given how many American students have been priced out over the last 20, 30 years, tuition costs are through the roof. I'm not really in the mood to import 600,000 CCP students. I'm not really in the mood to do that. I'm not a fan of that, especially given all the problems we have in China. China is an adversarial nation. China is a hostile nation. They are. Once again, if we've got 15% of our universities that are so financially over-leveraged that they are at risk of going out of business if Trump does not grant them 600,000 Chinese student visas, then you know what? Let them fail. Let them go out of business. Let them go. They should go out of business. They should. If their business model is entirely dependent on access to 600,000 Chinese students, they deserve to fail. They deserve to go out of business. That's what you get for screwing over 3 generations of young Americans. You lose. No bailout, no 600,000 Chinese students. You lose. You betrayed the American youth. It's done. That's my opinion. So I disagree. I think it is my patriotic obligation to speak up when I disagree. I think it's your patriotic obligation as well. This country is built on free speech. If we didn't have, listen, us Americans, we get a little bit hot-blooded sometimes. You got to speak up about stuff. Listen, of course, we have our Republican, Democrat kind of dynamic here, but that doesn't mean that you always agree with everything 100% on one side or everything 100% on the other side. Okay, if you see something on your side that you don't like, I think, in fact, in a lot of ways, maybe I'm crazy here, I think it's even kind of more important to speak out against problems in your own party than it is to speak out against problems that are happening in the other party. I feel maybe even more of an obligation to hold my own party accountable, to hold my own elected representatives accountable, because they are supposed to represent me and us. And so that's why, every couple weeks, every couple months I go live and I'm a little bit heated and we do a show like this where you're making use of our First Amendment here. So now, folks, that's kind of my opinion on the Chinese thing. The reason why I did bring this up is because, like I said, I maintain optimism. Trump does have a very long history of listening to the feedback of his base. Trump does care what you have to say. Trump does care what I have to say and what we have to say. Now, Mark Mitchell, by the way, this SpaceX rocket launch is happening in 10 minutes. I'm keeping an eye on this. We're going to watch that blast off here in a minute. Mark Mitchell with Rasmussen Reports. By the way, Rasmussen Reports has been for a very long time the most accurate pollster for MAGA conservative Americans. This guy, Rasmussen here, Mark Mitchell, he's the chief pollster here. the most on point when it comes to polling conservatives in this country. Okay, so I want to show you something here. Mark Mitchell chimed in today. He said 600,000 Chinese students, but only 7% of Americans think China is an ally. What does that mean? According to him, the top conservative pollster in the country, 93% of Americans think that China is a hostile threat, an adversarial nation. They are not an ally. They are, in fact, an enemy. 93% of the country does not like China. And that transcends party lines. That's both Democrats and Republicans. 600,000 Chinese students, nobody is a fan of this. Nobody. Mark Mitchell, he said earlier, earlier today also, he said Trump wants a ton of Chinese student visas, but voters rank China as our #1 foreign enemy, and 4 times more people say China is an enemy than say it is an ally. For every one person, this is another poll, yes, for every one person that says China is our ally, there are 4 Americans that say China is our enemy. And across the nation, Americans rank China as our #1, more than Iran, more than Russia, more than North Korea. Who's our biggest enemy? More than Venezuela, whatever. It's China. America agrees. We don't like China. Seems to be the case here. That seems to be the case. Now, this is a clip coming out of Steve Bannon's War Room. I want to see what they were saying about this, but first off, I want to take a look. We do have some super chats. I think I missed one here. This is BG. He says, I went to Harvard. It's overrated. I got to take your word for it because I have no plans of attending Harvard. So I have to take your word. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. We got a smart guy in the chat. Thank you very much. I appreciate that a lot. Once again, folks, we are live right now on Rumble, Matt Morse TV. We're live on YouTube, Matt Morse TV. We're on X, Matt Morse TV. We're all over the place. Find me everywhere but in real life. You can follow me everywhere, but not in real life. Thank you very much. And I appreciate the super chats, folks. Take a look at Natalie Winters here. This is from Steve Bannon's War Room. What do they have to say about this?
The number one thing that we've learned from the Trump administration is that they are very responsive. If we make noise, we get results.
True.
And I think that this Chinese student visa issue is one of those things, just like it was the FEMA aid to countries or rather counties or citizens who, what was it? It was disrespectful or weren't supportive of the Israeli government. When we made enough noise, we saw that provision very swiftly removed from the new DHS guidelines. And I think that we need to hold a similar line here on the Chinese visa front, which, by the way, the current number hovers, maybe it's a little lower than around 300,000 students.
277.
So I don't understand, even if you think that's great, which it's not, we're certainly going to get into that, why we would be doubling that number. I think the brief summary of the argument is these are not students. These are spies. The short-term consequences are IP theft, espionage, cybersecurity incidents, stealing all of our most valuable information.
She says, these are not students, these are spies. Once again, literally, terminologically, every single one of them is a spy because in accordance with what is effectively the CCP constitution, every single Chinese citizen has to be under law an informant. They have to inform any information they have to the CCP. So all of them are terminologically harvesting information and giving it to the CCP if the CCP is to request the information of them. That's just the case. That's not even up for debate.
I don't understand why we should be training the next generation, at best, of Chinese Communist Party leaders and apparatchiks, at worst, the people that will be meeting on the battlefield. But I think the longer-term implications, and frankly, their republic ending, are that we are essentially creating our own demise. This might be the best example that I've ever seen of managed decline. The idea that we should hollow out American universities, take seats in classrooms from the people I went to high school with, the people that you raised as your children, grandchildren, and give them to foreigners who are mandated per China's Article 7 of their national intelligence law to advance the interests of the party. And spare me the cultural immersion idea. How many American students are in China? I think it's, less than 500? So that's not really the best two-way street, shall we say. And I don't think we need more young American students adopting communist indoctrination. But
Now, I will tell you one of the funniest counter arguments to all of this, why this Chinese thing is actually not that big of a deal. And this is something I posted last night on Twitter. Everybody here has to follow me on Twitter and X. I said, given our universities are pretty much nothing more than progressive indoctrination centers, this is all actually President Trump's secret PSYOP plan to turn the next generation of Chinese students into a bunch of gay retards, which, frankly, will probably happen to some degree if we take 600,000 of them. It's fair to say at least 500,000 of them will end up being far left radical progressives, go back to their own country, and then push a bunch of woke bullcrap back in China. So there is your 5-dimensional, chess angle. Obviously, this is a joke. I don't think this is the case. I think this is a bad idea. We should not accept 600,000 CCP students in the country. However, it is funny. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, there's your conspiracy of the day. Now, folks, we have this SpaceX launch that I wanted to watch with you guys right here. This is going to be happening in the next 4 minutes. Is it okay if we start watching this? Like I said, today is sort of our last live broadcast here for the next 3 or 4 days because I'm going to be moving. It's like a 6 or 7 hour road trip to where, so I'm going to be gone for a couple days. We're moving from Western Idaho over to, Western Washington over to Northern Idaho is where we're going. So I said, you know what? Why don't we have kind of a fun day? Let's have a fun day on my final day here before I'm gone for a couple days. And but anyway, that is going to be a wrap for our news segment of the day. We talked about the Chinese stuff. We talked about the tariff stuff. The Chinese issue really was the biggest, most dramatic issue. Everybody's been talking about it for a couple days now. But really, we touched on all the big news for the day. And so now we're going to hang out and we're going to watch this. We're going to see if this thing gets scrubbed. They've tried to launch this rocket for the last 2 days. The weather hasn't been good. They cancel them. So they're back today. This is third try is the charm, we hope. Seems like a nice sunny day here. Not too much cloud coverage. And they're going to blast this thing up. Of course, this is the biggest rocket they have. This is the big one. They launch it up, and then it comes back down, and then they catch it with these arms, these big metal arms. I have a friend of mine who actually works for SpaceX, so he's given me updates about all this stuff. He's a part of what's going on today, so he's very excited. But I think they're probably doing this. The countdown is still going. This thing is going to go up into low Earth orbit, I think, and then come back down. So if you are a flat earther, by the way, maybe it's time for you to exit today's broadcast because it's going to be hard to grapple with what you're about to see. It's going to be difficult to explain. Now, I see a massive super chat over in the Rumble chat from Eganito. Thank you very much. He says, check this out. Illegal immigration has been stopped, and now they are switching to legal immigration. What a disgrace. We must stop the influx of foreigners, period. I'm with you. Listen, I'm with you. The only problem with immigration is not that it was happening illegally. We also had too much legal immigration, be it student visas or H-1B visas or birthright citizenship being granted to children. Listen, legal immigration is not perfect either. We need to pull back on legal immigration as well. We need to go back to our pre-1965 sort of immigration protocol. We need to be very, very selective with who we let in the country. Otherwise, we're going to lose the entire country altogether. I'm going to turn up the audio here, see if we have any volume on this.
All right, coming up on 90 seconds.
And everybody, thank you for tuning in today. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, folks.
Right outside Star Factory here at Starbase.
That's a lot of
looks like we're getting a quick TVC. That
rockets?
wiggle check.
It's my favorite.
I don't know what you call those.
Rocket.
Right under the launch mount.
Hopefully we don't scrap this. They've scrapped the last 2 launches here.
All right, so we've got crowds gathered out at Hawthorne, crowds gathered here at Starbase.
Super fun to see people
Everybody's
getting
cheering.
to watch out on the front lawn now.
1 minute to go to launch.
All right. So this is like kind of...
So again, our hold point comes up at T-minus 40, not tracking.
This is kind of like watching NASCAR. You don't want to see anybody blow up, but also you kind of do a little bit.
All right, we are through T-minus 40. We are counting down. We're going to let our flight director, Maciek Batura, take us the rest of the way. 30 seconds, the 10th liftoff of Starship.
Ooh. This is test number 10. And we have countdown 15 seconds.
15.
This is exciting. All right, let's go.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh. It's badass. You can't deny it. This is badass.
Vehicle pitching downrange.
And that thing is freaking massive. I think that is just surreal to watch.
Booster chamber pressure nominal.
Ladies and gentlemen, no other country is doing this. Is China doing this? Is Russia doing this? Russia maybe kind of used to do this. They don't do it so much these days. America is doing
We're a
this.
little over 40 seconds into flight. 33 out of
Booster and
33
ship,
Raptor
avionics,
engines.
power and telemetry nominal.
Getting good call outs, healthy systems on the booster as it starts to pitch over the Gulf.
Wow.
All right, we're a little over 1 minute into flight, about to pass through Max Q.
Max Q.
Max Q has been reached. I don't know
All right,
what that
so we are
means.
through the period of maximum dynamic pressure, max stress on the vehicle as it continues to fly.
Our next major event is going to be hot staging, which is happening in just over 90 seconds from now. To get ready, the booster will shut down all but 3 of its Raptor engines. The clamps holding the 2 stages together will release, and the Starship second stage ignites its engines. The ship then separates from the Super Heavy booster and heads to space. At the same time, the 3 engines still firing on Super Heavy will flip the booster around. 10 more engines will ignite for the boost back burn, putting the first stage on the path for splashdown in the Gulf. As we mentioned earlier, the hot stage will be jettisoned for this flight, and that should occur just after the boost back burn. So we're about to shut down the first stage and perform hot staging. So let's just watch and listen.
Very impressive. So I think they said this thing is going to crash land in the Gulf of India, on the other side of the planet, because the Earth is rotating under this thing as it's doing its deal, right? It's flying around up there. Fake. Yeah, you think it's fake? You think it's all CGI? You think that Stanley Kubrick is actually directing this right now? I wouldn't be surprised. You never know, really.
All right, seeing the engine start to throttle down.
Throttle down.
Miko. Ship ignition. Boost back burn startup. Stage separation.
There it goes, back to Earth. So the big deal about this rocket is that a lot of this is reusable.
Stage separation confirmed. We've got 6 engines running on ship. Booster is doing its boost back burn, continuing now towards its splashdown site in the Gulf.
Ship
We are
Raptor
seeing
chamber
all 6
pressure is
Raptors
nominal.
lit up on ship.
Maybe it's going the Gulf of America. I don't know. I don't know which Gulf we're talking about. Yesterday they were talking about landing down off the coast of India.
You
Today,
heard
maybe, I
them
don't know.
report ship chamber pressure is nominal, so that chamber pressure, just that expected thrust level in those Raptor engines on the ship. 3 vacuum optimized,
Ship
3 sea
avionics,
level,
power and
all
telemetry
looking
nominal.
good.
Whoa. Look at that. All of us are down there somewhere on that planet. Everybody look up, say, hey. Hi, SpaceX.
There's a view into the business end from the ship.
Boost back burn shutdown.
All right, so at this point, we
They're really
finished
doing it.
our boost back burn, so that was shut down. So that's the first of the 2 burns after a launch that the booster is going to do today. So now it's headed towards the Gulf. It's not going to be quite as an aggressive of a flight down. We relaxed that angle of attack a little bit,
Ooh.
but we are then going to be looking for it to do its engine tests for the landing burn, and those are going to be a little unique this time.
Yeah, typically we start with all 13 inner engines lit for that landing burn and bring that down to just the center 3. But one of our test objectives for today is to simulate what an engine out situation would look like. So we're going to be intentionally turning off one of those center 3 and instead lighting one of the engines from the middle 10 ring.
Yeah, we did see one of those engines in the middle ring shut down during the initial ascent. Oh, looks like we have hot stage jettison. You can see it floating away there.
Is that good or
to
bad?
the left of the booster.
Probably good.
Yeah, we did see one of those middle engines shut down during the ascent. Again, we are resilient to engine out on Super Heavy. That's why we're able to get through our ascent.
This is nuts.
Starship flying on the expected path. There's still a chance that engine could be back in the mix for the very start of the landing burn, so we'll see if we light up all 13. But we've even done a landing burn at the tower with an engine out, so very resilient. We'll see how it does on its way down to the Gulf, though.
Really just so impressive, right?
Right, so we got a couple of minutes.
That we can do this.
Landing burn start should be just about 40 seconds away.
On the left, that thing is coming down.
That's
fast.
always rad. You can
There
see
it is. Look at that.
Could see the boost plume itself in the background as it was coming in.
There it is.
All right, about 20 seconds to landing burn.
So this is the one that they catch with the
Ship
big
Raptor
metal
chamber
arms.
pressure's nominal.
See if they can catch it successfully.
All right, here we go.
Landing burn startup.
Looks
All
like
right,
we
good
got
luck.
12 of those 13.
Down to 3, including one of the middle
Oh,
ring.
no, this one's on the water. Oh no, okay, different spot. I think they catch it on a boat in the water.
Down to 2.
Come on.
Landing burn
Nice
shutdown.
little hover. And landing burn shutdown. And into the Gulf. Here we come.
Never mind. Okay, just right in the water.
And the booster has
Just
splashed
land it
down.
right in the water. All right.
Incredible flight
All
for
right.
booster today.
All right, by the way,
Meanwhile, back
Mill2K11,
in
by
space.
the way, thank you very much. That's all.
About
You
7
guys see
minutes
the
into
$100
today's
super
flight,
chat right
ship
there?
continuing its
Thank you very
ascent
much.
burn. This goes until just about 9 minutes into our flight. That ship engine
appreciate that a
cutoff
lot. Thank you very
is
much.
slated for 8 minutes and 57 seconds. We are going to see those 3 RVAC, the Raptor vacuum engines. Those are the bigger circles in that little indicator on the bottom right of your screen. Those will shut down first. And we continue burning for a couple seconds longer on those inner 3 before we hit SECO, or second engine cutoff.
I appreciate that, sir. Thank you very much. Tomorrow we have a
Yeah, these views are looking great. Once again, thanks to Starlink for getting us these views. It's just incredible. And we just heard the sound from Booster.
It's like we just got a late boom from the booster.
Boom. So who here
Yeah,
10
we have
years from
ship
now?
engine cutoff coming up here
would go
just
to
shortly.
Mars?
And as we've mentioned, today's flight test is not an orbital flight, but rather one that demonstrates Starship's orbital capability.
Starship from terminal guidance.
Who here wants to be a Martian pioneer 10 years from now? They'll put you on one of these rockets. You can go live in one of the Martian homestead bases someday. I think maybe it's not for me. Maybe not. I'm kind of partial to Earth. I'm a big fan of Earth. I have a little bit of an attachment
Shut
to
down
Earth.
the vacuum
I like it.
engines.
Oh. Take a look at that. Really
Ship
something
engine
else.
cutoff.
We shut down those center 3. Successful ship engine cutoff.
Successful.
SECO, baby. There we go. That's what we want.
Nominal orbit insertion.
SECO.
All right, we just heard the call out for nominal orbital insertion.
Nominal orbital insertion. Okay.
All right, so ship is in space. There we go. We're seeing the flaps starting to move into a stowed position. That's why it looks like your camera's moving.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exciting to see Starship safely in space, and super pumped to see all the team's hard work in action here today. And of course, as guaranteed, it's been an exciting day so far. We successfully lifted off right on time at 6:30 p.m. Central Time. Thankfully, our weather was looking good today. And booster, we had our soft splashdown in the Gulf, so ship continues on.
Yeah, ship able to complete its ascent burn all the way in. You can see some of the shadows start to creep as it's going to be eventually flying into an orbital nighttime.
You have all this
so we'll
garbage
see
just like
some
falling
daylight
off of this
start to
spaceship,
go
though.
away. But ship is in
Looks like
orbit,
it's falling
completed its
apart.
burn, and I mean that's just the beginning. Now we've got a whole bunch more to go. So we've got some exciting demonstrations
Ship
planned
FPS is
while
safe.
we're on orbit.
You know, I gotta say though, I am not a moon landing denier or conspiracy theorist. However, that said, you look at how incredibly complex this is, what SpaceX is doing now, and you say, man, how in the hell did they do that in, what was it, 1967? I don't know whenever we landed on the moon. How in the hell did they do that back then with the technology that they had back then? Man, it's pretty crazy.
7 seconds into the flight, so just about 7 minutes from now.
It's a pretty
that
pretty
deploy will
difficult
take
thing to
place
do.
over a couple of minutes. It'll
Can't
go
deny
about
that.
one satellite a minute, so we'll be spread out over that.
There's
It might
an
get a little
ideal
dark.
teaser. Hey, thank
but
you.
We've got a
Thank
couple
you.
of views that we can show you
Thank you.
to see that deploy in action. After that, we're also looking to do a relight of a single Raptor engine while we are in space. We've done this once before. This is not necessary to deorbit, as we are in a suborbital trajectory, but this is essentially a chance to test out what we need to be able to do a deorbit burn. So we'll be doing that a little bit later in the flight, about 37 minutes or so into the flight. And then we get into reentry. We're looking to get that light show and, more importantly, get that really critical data about the ship's heat shield.
Yeah, exactly. At about T plus 45 minutes, we'll be heading for reentry. Again, running those experiments with the tiles. We're going to be doing missing tiles, metallic tiles, and also intentionally loading those vehicles' flaps. Hopefully, we'll also see a splashdown in the Indian Ocean today.
Yeah, we were able
The
to
Indian
get
Ocean.
to reentry last time, but we didn't have full attitude control, so we weren't able to go in, heat shield first the way we're designed to. So we ended up losing contact with the ship before we could make it all the way through. So you still get data, but you're not really getting the data that we want to make sure we're kind of stress testing the vehicle. As Amanda just said, we removed a bunch of tiles, and we do this in some intentionally scary places on the vehicle because we're really looking, are there spots that were vulnerable to this before we ever start moving towards, putting ship into a full orbital mission to then do reentries a little bit later on. So really, really critical to get that data, really looking forward to a controlled reentry.
Yeah, for sure. As we always say, our main payload is data, but today we also have some actual payload on board, and those simulators that Starship will be deploying, we'll see coming up here in just a few minutes. These are dummy satellites that are about the same size as our V3 Starlinks. We have 8 in the Starship PEZ dispenser and expect to deploy at a rate of about 1 per minute, as Dan mentioned earlier. Starlink is critical in all of our
This is pretty
flights
damn
on
cool.
Starship to get our main payload data, as we always say. And in fact, it's Starlink that's currently providing these views you see as Starship cruises a couple hundred kilometers above our home planet and provides real-time telemetry through every phase of flight.
Yeah, we took a peek inside of the Starship payload bay there for a second. So there's 8 of them there. They kind of look just big steel plates, essentially. They're roughly the same size as those V3 satellites. When we do get that view inside of the payload bay, the payload door will kind of be on your right, and we'll start to see them go out like a PEZ dispenser. Yeah, here's a look inside. So those right down there in the center, they're kind of 2 stacks of 4 on either side.
The
and then
interior
the payload
space
door
here
is
is
just
massive.
to their right.
Really?
So we'll look to see that open, and then those
A lot of room
satellites
in
start to
there.
go. We vent the nose cone, so we essentially bring it down to vacuum before we open the door. That was one of the things we ran into on the last flight, as when we had that fuel diffuser fail, the pressure in the nose cone became basically too high for the actuator of the door to open. So that's why we weren't able to get the door open that time. We have not seen anything like that on this flight. Everything's looking good with our fuel tank and our fuel press system. So we are hopefully just a couple of minutes away from seeing that payload door open and getting to our first ever payload. It's not the first payload we've ever carried, but it's the first one we're going to try and shoot off into space.
Wow. So they're pushing the barriers here, the boundaries. They're pushing the boundaries here every time.
All right, so
They're going to launch these into
we're
space here in a
supposed to
minute.
open the payload door in just about a minute and change. And you're seeing a little bit of residual gas. And we opened the door once. I want to say it was back on flight 3 when we were able to make it up into space. And you'll kind of see a lot of that gas rushing out into the vacuum of space. It's
That'll
the
be
residual
exciting.
that's left over after we've already vented it down. So kind of a cool light show. And then we'll get ready to deploy those payloads out.
We want to see the deployment. That's what we want to see. So by the way, folks, if you are tuning in right now, we covered our daily news. We wrapped up our daily news segment, and incidentally, there was a
And as we
SpaceX
mentioned,
rocket
so we
launch.
have crossed
This is
over
live.
now at this point into an orbital nighttime. So views from the outside will get pretty dark, but we'll see what we can see. We do this by design. We've been launching these later in the day here in Texas to try and get daytime views when we splash down. So it's daytime over in the Indian Ocean, where we are currently headed.
Let's
Just a
go.
few seconds until we expect those payload doors to open.
Couple seconds here. That's going to be very exciting. Open up
All
the
right,
payload doors.
one more time. Open the pod bay doors, Hal.
3, 2, 1, 0. I think they did it. I think that was it. Maybe. I'm not sure. Maybe I did it. Oh. Oh no, that's
we
it.
are currently in payload deploy prep.
Yeah, that's it right there. Just on the right.
And the door is open.
The door to space is open. And now they're going to launch these things out.
All right, so the payload door is open. We should see the first satellite start to deploy at about T plus 18 minutes and 27 seconds. So should be only about 30 seconds. So one step closer. Hal listened this time. He cooperated. He opened the payload door for us.
Wow.
There's a view kind of behind the Pez here looking out into the vacuum of space.
About 15 seconds until payload deploy.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if it's going to be nice and slow or if they're just going to slap that thing out there.
Ship has transitioned to payload deploy.
This is inside of the ship here, and they're going to launch these. So these are not real satellites. These are dummy satellites. They said these are just like big pieces of metal just for the sake of testing the functionality here. So any second, they're going to just launch these big fake sheets of metal out the side of the spaceship. Looks like they're doing it right now. Yep.
There we go.
There you go. Imagine that. Look at how happy. They're so happy. Let's go.
Pew pew. Been waiting way too long to do that. There we go.
Doing it. Let's go. So what
There
they're
goes
doing right
another
now,
one.
they are just littering in space. You ever see somebody flick their cigarette butt out their window when they're driving through town? That's pretty much what they're doing right now in space.
Super exciting moment, as you can hear the energy
hey,
in both Hawthorne and Starbase.
Who cares, I
Everyone's
guess.
super excited for finally getting to deploy some of those simulated satellites.
Pez system moving down. Next row. There we go. As we said, we're going to do about one every minute or so. And this is just kind of a dress rehearsal for when we're going to be deploying the V3 satellites. And these are just a massive, massive increase to Starlink's capability. Each one of them has it's 60 terabits per second of capacity that's going to get added to the network per launch. That's 20 times more than what we're adding with every single Falcon 9 launch today, which, you know, step increase in
Send it out.
capability. There goes
All right.
another one.
It's working. The plan is working. Hong Hong Sang, supporter on YouTube. Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
All right, so as we said, we've got 8 total that we're going to go through today. It's about a minute for each one, but
We're doing all of them.
good on payload deploy.
Another one. Look at that. Get out of the spaceship. Get out of the spaceship. Also, hey, once again, Mill 2K11, I want to say thank you again. Thank you very much. That's a big one. I think they've got 2 more of these, maybe 3 to do here. That's pretty cool. It's a pretty big deal. I'm seeing
All right,
maybe.
so we're about halfway through.
Oh,
When we actually start launching the V3 Starlinks on Starship, we're going to be flying about 60 each time. So it'll be about an hour to get through a full stack. But again, it's just going to be a massive increase in the amount of bandwidth. It's going to enable, you know, gigabit upload download for people with Starlink, you know, anywhere on the planet. And for us, Starlink is just a tremendous part of just the Starship flight test program.
Yeah, absolutely.
Starlink
Always getting
really
us
is
that
huge.
data. And yeah, the amazing views we have on the vehicle today.
oh, thank you, Mill. Thank
Yeah,
you very
views
much.
brought to you by Starlink of us deploying Starlink simulators before we deploy actual Starlinks. How deep does it go? All right, another one firing out.
I've got to say real quick, man, about Starlink. Starlink really is probably one of the biggest tech advancements that we have had in the last, 10 years. And nobody really gives Starlink the credit that it deserves, but Starlink really is a game changer. It's a big deal. Starlink has made a big impact for a lot of people.
Pez looking smooth today.
Big time. Bigly. There goes another one. Oh. There you go. Let's go.
All right, looks like we've got one left.
We're almost there.
One more to go.
Yeah, there you go. One remaining. So 7 of the 8 have been deployed. One more to go. And then we will have completed our first ever payload deploy operation. Just a reminder, we're on a suborbital trajectory. These satellites on that exact same suborbital trajectory, they're going to burn up entirely and are on that same trajectory towards the Indian Ocean. So the last one has been deployed.
There's everybody.
Starlink simulator payload complete. Heck yeah, everybody.
What a young workforce at SpaceX.
Loving the energy from Starbase and Hawthorne.
A lot of Gen Z
There,
and
yeah,
millennials.
now it's empty. Looking a little lonely, but
Successfully deployed all the simulator satellites.
really, really cool to see them all out there. Again, people that have followed know Starlink's really critical for the Starship program, in addition to, getting all those views back from the cameras on Starship, which this is an external view. As I said, it's dark outside right now. The lights are off. So it's going to be hard to make stuff out. But in a little while, the sun's going to start coming up as we get to re-entry, which is going to be really critical.
All right.
We use Starlink for Starship data. Cameras also use it on the cameras that we use to bring you views of these launches and also, hopefully, of the re-entry and splashdown. We'll see what we get from the Indian Ocean today. And that's just kind of how it all comes together. Like, we're using Starlink on the planet, off the planet. With Starship, we actually get a pretty insane, if you're in the space industry, bandwidth to space is usually pretty minimal. We get about 120 megabits per second. That's split between our high-definition video and real-time telemetry. We get that every phase of flight, including re-entry. So it's not just giving us views of re-entry, but we're getting all of that engineering data in real time through phases that it used to be impossible to get that in real time. So just really incredible.
Yeah, Starlink definitely affords us all this capability. And reminder, it's the world's largest satellite constellation operating in low Earth orbit to deliver high-speed, low-latency broadband internet. This provides internet access to people all around the world, many of whom had never had connectivity before. Today, Starlink serves more than 150 countries, territories, and other markets with over 6 million active customers and counting. To meet the growing global demand for high-speed internet, SpaceX expanded its factory in Bastrop, Texas, and also introduced Starlink Mini, as well as an upgraded version of the Starlink Standard kit.
All right, now with payload deploy complete, Starship is now going to close its payload bay door and continue to coast towards Earth, around Earth, towards the Indian Ocean. Sorry, I'm really excited today. We are in space, people. Still a lot of major events to come, though. We are looking to relight one of those Raptor engines at about 37 minutes, 33 seconds into the flight, followed by atmospheric entry, hell of a light show, and splashdown. So we're going to go on a quick break, take a quick coast, sit back, enjoy the views. A little bit dark now, but they'll get better soon. A couple of space jams. We'll be back in just a few minutes for that Raptor relight and then re-entry. See you soon.
All right. Well, I don't know. Probably we have another 10, 15 minutes until this thing actually re-enters the Earth atmosphere. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, here's my question to you. Is space real? Yes or no? One word answers only. One word, a simple yes or no will suffice. Is space real? Yes or no? I'm looking at Rumble chat. I'm looking at YouTube chat as well, because I've been seeing some of you guys, some of you ladies and gentlemen in the chat here on Rumble and YouTube say, it's all fake. None of this is real. I don't believe it. So when this rocket, by the way, re-enters Earth atmosphere, it's going to land in the... Well, no, that was the other one. The other one landed in the Indian Ocean. This big one here, I don't know where it's landing. I think they're going to try to recapture it. I think it's landing in Texas because they're going to try to grab it with the two big metal arms. I think it's coming back to Starbase in Texas is where it's going. Okay, well, I'm looking. Everybody's saying yes or no. It seems like 90% of people say space is real, and maybe 10% of people say space is not real. Well, inconclusive. I don't think we have enough data really to determine whether or not it is real. So all we can do is continue to speculate about this. That being said, thank you for participating. Now, folks, I will say again, I'm going to say again, ladies and gentlemen, today, the reason why we're doing kind of a special show today, we're kind of hanging out and chilling a little bit here, is because I am not going to be here with you guys for 4 days, maybe 3 days, but I think 4 days, because tomorrow we are moving. My family and I were moving from Western Washington over into Idaho. So we're having a little bit of a longer kind of hangout stream broadcast today. We talked about the news. Now we're doing the Starship thing because I'm going to be MIA. We have a very long road trip ahead of us. We have some movers coming over tomorrow. It's going to be a big pain in the ass. But in the next couple days, no videos, no YouTube shorts, no live broadcasts like today, nothing. Total, complete and total radio silence starting tomorrow. Now, maybe I will continue to be posting on X or Twitter. So, hey, if you guys follow on X, that really is probably the best way to make sure I'm still alive, I guess. But beyond that, I hate to say, my room isn't even packed. My room is 80% packed. So later tonight, I'm going to finish up the packing. I have a very good wife. My wife has really packed up the entire house. Really, my wife has really been the one pioneering all of this, so good for her. She's got all the kitchen stuff, all the kids' stuff. Everything is packed up, ready to go. Vlog my move. No. I think I'm not going to do that, but it's a nice idea. It's a nice idea. Listen, we're going to have a trailer, a U-Haul. We're going to have 3 movers, a big semi-truck. The movers are going to put the stuff in the semi-truck. We're going to have a trailer behind my car. We have 2 kids in the car, a dog in the car, a wife in the car. And then you want me to vlog it on top of that? That seems like a pain in the ass. So I'd rather just get it over with, just move, and it's going to be fine. You guys, it's not really that interesting anyway. Do you guys think that I should become a full-time family vlogger? Hey, everybody, welcome. It's another episode with the Morse family. Here's the wife and the kids and the dog. Politics? No, we don't talk politics. Today, we're just going to be doing family stuff. Maybe it's not my style. Maybe I don't need to become a family vlogger, YouTuber. Probably not. In fact, I kind of go the other way. I think it's best to leave the kids off YouTube. You don't want your kids growing up on YouTube, having thousands of people looking at them and judging them and, forming some type of parasocial relationship with the kids. You don't want that. That's probably not the best environment for a kid, The kid has to worry about what people are saying in the YouTube comments or whatever. It's like, kids don't need to be involved in that. If somebody calls me a stupid, dumb idiot on YouTube, it's like, whatever. It's like, whatever. That's another day, but, maybe kids don't need to be a part of that. Now, are we back yet? Nope, not yet. So right now, this rocket is orbiting the Earth, and it is going to come landing down. It's going to re-enter the Earth's atmosphere at some point. I'm not exactly sure here. Soon enough, though. Raya, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I appreciate that a lot. She says, to you and your family, have a very safe trip. God bless. This is in the YouTube chat. Thank you very much. I appreciate that a lot. Thank you. Good to see you. I'm happy you're here. Thank you very much. That means a lot. I will take that super chat, and I will spend $10 of it on gas station beef jerky. Tomorrow, I'll stop at a gas station and I'll buy a bag of beef jerky, courtesy of that super chat. So thank you. So thank you for the beef jerky. I appreciate that from the gas station. Thank you very much. Total disclosure. Thank you very much. Rumble Quacker. Hey, I appreciate that down in Rumble. Thank you very much. Right now, we are waiting for this spaceship to orbit the Earth. There was another comment here I wanted to see. Raya, thank you one more time. It was Freebird. He says, we welcome you to North Idaho. I've done my research. I'll tell you something. I've been reading a little bit that sometimes people in North Idaho maybe are not the most welcoming of new people. They say, you're moving here from Washington. Oh, you're moving here from California or Oregon. Really? We don't want you. I've been reading about that, but I think I can understand maybe why that happens sometimes, because if you have some Portland city, Seattle city, Los Angeles liberal, San Francisco liberal moving up there, yeah, they don't want them. You can go back to your liberal hellhole where you came from, but I don't know, maybe a guy like me, maybe somebody like me, maybe I'm going to fit in. Maybe I'll fit in. Maybe it's going to be okay. Maybe they will embrace me. Maybe they're going to be welcoming of me. Maybe I'm going to fit in just fine. It's going to be okay. But no, I get it. They don't want a bunch of West Coast liberals moving in their city, because it is a good, it's a good place to live. It's a good place to be. I used to live in Idaho. It was snowy. This is one of the things that I am probably not prepared for, is all the snow in North Idaho. I've never really lived around too much snow. Allegedly, they get around 70 days of snow per year where it is actively snowing, is what I heard. That's a lot. But hey, you know what? That's the way it is. My wife is from a very small country town in Western Germany, in the German state of Rhineland-Pfalz, if we have any Germans here. And where she is from gets a lot of snow. So my wife is very accustomed to the snow. Me, maybe a little bit, not so much. The rain, I'm all about the rain, but maybe not as much about the snow. But hey, I'm going to get used to it. I'll get used to it. I'm very excited. Here, I'll tell you what, though. Here's the craziest thing about what we're doing is that we have purchased a house. I've never even been there in person. I am about to move to a city, into a house I've never been to. I've never even... Is that crazy? We purchased a house. I never even have been there in person. I've never even seen the house. So when we drive out there tomorrow, or actually I think it's the next day actually, it'll be my first time ever. So okay, hopefully everything is fine. Hopefully it's all fine. I think it'll be fine. We had some inspectors and realtors go out there, take a look. Okay, it's good. Okay. There's a German restaurant here. Oh, good. Okay, I'm excited. I'm excited now. German food is good. I'm lucky my wife loves to cook, and she's a good cook, and so she's always cooking. I'm very spoiled with German food. In this house, in my house, we have a lot of schnitzel, a lot of Königsberger Klopse is my favorite German meal. Königsberger Klopse is what it's called. It's like meat, kind of meatballs and potatoes. Oh, something happening? Oh no, frick. Okay, my bad.
Up. We are through the deorbit demo gate, so we should be seeing it momentarily.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, pay attention. Sauerkraut. Oh, of course you must be
Relay
eating the
demo startup.
sauerkraut.
And shut down.
All right, look at that.
All right, looks like we confirmed the relight of one of those Center Raptor engines. Second time we've done that. Super exciting. Huge congrats to the team on this milestone. Very exciting to see.
That was a cool light show. Yeah, I get to do a mini version here. So again, that's going to be really critical for when we're doing deorbit burns. Like as you're going through, which if you don't have one of these, my God, they're so much fun. But like you're able to actually like light. Oh, Dan, turn it on.
It's broken.
Light that engine.
Whoa.
Not
That
set my
thing is a
co-host
lighter.
on fire. And that's what we'll eventually do to, break out of orbit, come back down to Earth. So really cool to see one of those engines light back up again in space. That was our last in-space thing.
Very exciting. We're going to be heading back for re-entry at about T plus 45 minutes. So we're going to take another quick break, and we will see you soon.
Another break. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I said today is going to be kind of a special show. So, hey, we are hanging out today. We are hanging out today. We can keep on talking about German food and everything. And now we have a view from inside of the SpaceX rocket ship. Great. Okay. Well, really, the most exciting part of this show is when the rocket has entered Earth's atmosphere again and it's getting captured by the big metal arms. They try to pluck it out of the air. That's the most impressive thing about this. So we're not going anywhere until they do that, because that is the most exciting thing. Wait, did they say 45 minutes? They said 45 minutes. Did I miss that? Oh. Is that right? Can we get a confirmation? Is that what they said? I see Brian Hoffman. He says there's a German Chinese restaurant by my house. It's really good. Only problem is that in a half an hour you are hungry for power. You try to take over the world, yeah. A German / Chinese restaurant. That's a curious mix. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, Brian. We have a big super chat down here in the Rumble chat. By the way, thank you very much. He says, this is from H.E. Johns. He says, I'm working on my house, getting it ready to sale. WW conservative and looking to move to Idaho. Lots of work preparing my house to list, but getting 10 times the property for its sale. Oh, great. Well, good. Hey, I'm happy to hear that. That's exciting. Moving is a lot of work. It's a big time pain in the butt. It really is. I'm sure you know, everybody here knows. T 45 minutes. T plus 45 minutes. Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, you're right. Okay. Yeah, you're right about that. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Well, then, good. So soonish, this rocket is going to come back down and we're going to yoink right out of the air. Thank you again. I appreciate that. Thank you. Where'd they shoot off from? This rocket launched off of Starbase in Texas. It's on the Texas coast. I'm not exactly sure where. I'm going to find it for you guys, though. Google Maps. Starbase. What are our rockets doing here? Okay. Well, just hold that thought. Okay. Oh, wow. It's actually right on the border with Mexico. You're not going to believe this. So, real fast. This is where Starbase is. Right here. Right there. So that's where they launched it from. They're just like 10 minutes away from Mexico, I guess. Right on the border. Impressive. Impressive indeed. Still just the music is playing. This thing is coming back down any second now, ladies and gentlemen. If you guys are hanging out here today, this is kind of the after show, if you can even call it that. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. Thank you all for tuning in today. Thank you very much. After today's broadcast, I'm going to have to go pack. Our garage is all boxed up right now. Half the house is boxed up, more than half the house. The movers are showing up tomorrow morning. So like I said, today, this right here is going to be the final show for the next 4 days, something like that. Matt, you're the best to hang out with and kill time with. Puppy moment. You know, we could probably do a puppy moment. One moment, please. I think we probably have a moment here. Argos, come here. Come here, buddy. Come here. Come here, good boy. Come here. Oh. You know, I'm going to tell you guys here, he's barely even a puppy anymore. He's so big, you can't really pick him up and hold him in the same way. He's just getting too big now. Look at him. I mean, some of y'all saw him, I don't know, must have been about a month and a half ago when we first brought him home. He was just so small, and now he's massive. He's a big boy. But he really is. He's very well behaved. He's really a good boy. He's doing all the tricks. He's being very respectful. He's being very nice to the kids. He's eating my ear right now. Just bite it off if you want. I don't care. Okay, I'm going to let you out, okay? Why don't you go back out? There you go. Come on. There you go. Good boy. Good boy. He's getting too big to do that these days. He's too big now. No, they're still playing the music. All right. Well, this thing's coming back into Earth, back into the atmosphere any minute now. He's tasting me. Yeah, you know, my ear probably tastes good because it's underneath my headphone. It's probably all sweaty and gross, which is his favorite, probably. No, he's a very good boy. He's a very good boy. What is the point of all this, of what we're watching right now? This is the 10th official Starship test launch. And they're, you know, every time they launch these things up in the into space, they're testing different variables. So today they were testing their, they opened up like a side door in space on the side of the spaceship, and they launched out a bunch of fake satellites. They were testing that functionality, little 10 million little tiny things they need to be testing. And so it seems like today, every single thing has gone properly. And the show is going to be coming to an end here pretty soon, because this rocket is going to, any minute now, descend back into Earth. And they're going to try to catch this thing. They're going to pluck it right out of the air. That's the goal. So I guess there's like one or two big final tests remaining. Can this thing make it through the atmosphere through re-entry? And then can they catch it so that they can reuse it again?
We'll need information on how the ship's system
Here we go.
end up performing. And Starlink will also help us gather as much data as possible, which is really the main reason why we do these flight tests. Starlink provides us with one more path to collect data to help us rapidly iterate on Starship's design. And if the ship manages to make it all the way to re-entry, we'll collect valuable data on the spacecraft flying through the Earth's atmosphere at hypersonic speeds, or more than 5 times the speed of sound.
Yeah, throughout history, a lot of times this is when you go into just a complete data and insight blackout, where that plasma sheath builds up around the outside of the spacecraft that blocks all of your signals that are trying to fight through to talk to either satellites out in space or towers down on the ground. Starship's big size kind of gives us awake, but what really helps us punch through is the fact that we're using Starlink. We're operating at just a much higher frequency. That's not what we want to see. So we started, we just saw some of the aft skirt just take a hit.
They just blew up.
So we've got some visible damage on the aft skirt. We're continuing to re-enter, though. And again, we are intentionally stressing the ship as we go through this. So it is not guaranteed to be a smooth ride down to the Indian Ocean. We've removed a bunch of tiles in kind of critical places across the vehicle. So seeing stuff like that is still valuable to us. We are trying to kind of push this vehicle to the limits to learn what its limits are as we design our next version of Starship. So 47 minutes, 45 seconds into the flight, excitement ticking up a little bit on re-entry already, but the light show is continuing. This re-entry is going to take about 20 minutes or so until our planned splashdown. We were trying to splash down about 1 hour and 6 minutes into the flight.
Yeah, that once they start re-entering, that is going to cause some issues.
And one day Starship is designed to land on Mars, where there are obviously no runways or other humans to help us out. So we are doing propulsive landing instead of more traditional means such as parachutes. And propulsive landing enables us to have more rapid reusability with these vehicles.
Yeah, the ship itself, it's a little over 50 meters tall. We've got those 6 engines on board, the 3 vacuum, the 3 sea level, and they're down in that aft skirt region. Which
you see that? Here, look at this. This is the skirt
so at this
of the
point,
rocket.
The flaps have control. That means we're getting into a dense enough part of the atmosphere that the flaps can start controlling us. We're not only reliant on those kind of reaction control system thrusters.
We're going to continue hearing some callouts as the ship makes its way back to Earth. So when we hear entry max heating and entry max Q, that will mean the ship has made it through the maximum heating and aerodynamic loads it will experience as it returns. So if it makes it through those, we can say we're doing pretty well.
I will say I'm happy Reentry cleaned off this camera for us. It was a little dirty from the weather, so thank you, Plasma, for giving us this view as we start coming down.
It's beautiful. Looks cool.
The hit we saw to the skirt, definitely interesting. I will note, when we started doing these missing tile tests, we were intentionally removing them only in the skirt, as that's, that's not over your fuel tanks or anything else that's kind of structurally critical for keeping the entire vehicle together. That obviously exposes your engines, so that could do some things for our landing burn. But for now, we are obviously continuing with this reentry. We are committed. Indian Ocean, here we come. 50 minutes since launch. We're going to see those colors start to build up a little bit. We are at the point where we're in dense enough atmosphere that the flaps have control.
I think this is going to end badly, man.
It's about 74 kilometers in altitude.
I've got a bad feeling about this.
You were starting to see some sunlight, so we intentionally time these launches right now so we have daylight. The sun should actually come up over the horizon on Starship in about 3 minutes. So as we get a little bit further into this reentry, that inky black below you is going to start to look like clouds and hopefully a bright blue ocean as we make our way down onto the other side of the planet.
Yeah, that is not what you want to see there in the top
We've got
right.
these cameras. These cameras are really cool. We added these several flights ago, looking directly at the flaps.
That's bad.
As not just the heat shield, but these flaps, how they're able to control the vehicle, withstand.
That's not good.
That reentry, the seal locations, so kind of where they connect to the ship itself are some of the most critical. We will do missing tiles on those where, again, we're trying to, we're kind of being mean to this Starship a little bit. We're really trying to put it through the paces.
They need some duct tape.
And kind of poke on what some of its weak points are. I mean, we even have missing tiles over some of those fuel tank sections of the ship itself. And so we're really trying to see what are our limits. We're doing this over a completely empty area over the Earth. Look at our Raptors there. We are, assuming we make it all the way down to the ocean in one piece, we will attempt a flip and a landing burn. We do have at least one buoy, everybody's favorite camera person, out in the Indian Ocean right now, being powered by Starlink. Okay. So that's at our planned landing location. So if we're able to get any live views of the ship, that'll essentially tell you that we nailed our target. Able to do that on our 6th flight test, do it in the daytime, which was really exciting.
Yeah, man. I do not think that is good. How does firework in space? I think technically this is plasma.
All right, so we're about
different,
10 minutes until we're probably going to start hearing some of the other big milestones coming up.
Yep, in about 10 minutes, like Dan said, Starship will be transonic. This is going to be the period of flight where the velocities of airflow surrounding and flowing past the vehicle are concurrently below, at, and above the speed of sound, so somewhere in the range of Mach 0.8 to 1.2. For reference, commercial jets have a range of cruising speeds, but most of them fly at speeds between Mach 0.74 and Mach 0.85. So that's 480 to 575 miles per hour or 770 to 930 kilometers per hour.
Yeah, and after transonic comes subsonic. That just means you're slower than the speed of sound. We're still well in excess of that right now. But by the time we hit subsonic, we're essentially belly flopping down. There we go. There's that sunlight. So we're seeing the Earth now come back into view. One of the other things we're doing during this, and you're going to see Starship kind of pitch in some pretty, not extreme ways, but a little extreme, as we're trying to really stress the structure of the ship itself, specifically those aft flaps. So the ones in the very bottom of the vehicle. We're pushing not just how well does the heat shield hold up, but how well does the ship structure hold up. We are pushing it beyond essentially what we think we'll have to fly at to do something like a return to launch site. So again, may not be a very smooth ride downhill,
Good
but we're
Lord.
doing that by design. We're really trying to find what are the edges that we can operate at, build up a good data set. But sun is up, clouds and water down below us. We are just about 10 minutes away, a little less than 10 minutes now, until we start hitting transonic and then subsonic. Once we hit subsonic, we're basically just belly flopping.
This is crazy. They are coming in hot. It's undeniable. You know what else is undeniable is that I am getting hungry. What am I going... Ladies and gentlemen, what is for dinner after today's broadcast? Right now it's 5:30 on the West Coast, 8:30 on the East Coast, and everybody around the world is saying, man, what is for dinner the second today's broadcast comes to an end? I don't know. Who knows? Dunlap on YouTube with the big super chat. He says, gas fund, save
All right, so about
travels.
55
Thank
and a
you.
half minutes
Thank
in, you
very
can
much.
see the
Thank
sun
you
is
very
up.
much.
Again, we intentionally designed these flights
Thank you,
to
sir.
lift off in the evening here so we get these daylight views so we can get
The
as
gas
good
fund.
a video as
You know you need it.
possible on the ship, assuming we make it all the way down. We've got at least one buoy powered by Starlink that's out there in
Thank
the
you very
landing
much.
zone in the Indian Ocean, hopefully giving us a view again. If you see any live views, not from the ship itself, that means we nailed our landing target.
Starship is past peak heating.
It's past
All
peak
right, we
heating,
just
so it's
heard the
cooling
call
down
out that
now.
we're past peak heating, so things are looking good so far.
Yeah, looking good.
Okay.
And at this point, again, the flaps are controlling. So this movement you're seeing is that forward flap moving to try and just maintain control, maintain attitude of the vehicle as we're coming down.
It is just astounding what humans are capable of. You know what I mean? Just consider that I was going to say we, like I'm not doing this, but you know, humans did this. Humans built this thing. They shot it up into space. They're going to bring it back down. They've got the heat shielding. They've got the sensors and the cameras.
And on
it's
one of
just
our
something else.
flaps, we got one of these cameras on all four of the flaps, 2 in the front, 2 in the back, giving us really good close-up views. As we obviously don't have a camera that can see the entire heat shield. These give us kind of the best that we can do. But looking at those flaps is really, those are just, super critical for controlling the ship. You have some ability to maneuver kind of cross range. So as you're coming in, you can see in that indicator at the very bottom right that we've pitched up quite a bit. So again, we are maximally stressing those aft flaps right now.
It's all about the flaps. You got to have good flaps.
Like we got a little bit of burn through the very bottom part of it. Everything's still looking good. Ship maintaining control.
We are in control.
We should be just about 5 minutes away until we hear that we're transonic.
It is with this technology that we will build the Donald Trump Martian Empire on the back of the SpaceX rockets. So we're slightly slowing down now. We are at 16,000 kilometers per hour. We used to be at 22,000. That thing is burning up. Look in the top right. Holy hell. Oh no. Oh no. We're losing part of our flap.
Still a little bit toasty on the aft skirt of the vehicle as we continue coming in.
Again, we are intentionally stressing the flaps so we can learn all we can.
We are learning. We're learning something.
All right, so now we're already well past peak heating.
Look at that. Look at that very German-sounding name. Buka?
Just about
Van
48,
Zinderen.
49, counting down to 48
Oh, it's not
kilometers in
German.
altitude. Expecting that transonic
It's like Dutch or
to
something.
come. So transitioning between the speed of
Thank you.
sound
Thank you
and
very much.
subsonics lower
Thank
than the
you.
speed of sound
Are you Dutch?
in
Thank you.
just a little under 4 minutes from now.
I appreciate that a
Right
lot.
now,
Thank
we've
you very
got kind of
much.
a lot of
you.
forward momentum, a lot of forward velocity. And
Approaching
then eventually,
Mach
by the
2
time we hit
flap load
subsonic.
demo.
I appreciate that a lot. Thank you very much.
All right, here we go. So this is what we've been talking about, where we are going to essentially try to fully deploy those aft flaps and really stress them out. So again, this is meant
Whoa.
to test the extremes for the vehicle.
I keep seeing comments. This is AI. Do you think this is AI? Ladies and gentlemen, is this artificial intelligence? I do not think so. I don't think so.
All right.
I don't think so.
See those flaps swinging out? Again, we're putting ship through the ringer on this flight in.
We're coming in. And we're coming in just a little bit burned up. Screen to move my screen to the right. Better
We're
view.
still maintaining control.
Yeah. I think it just depends on what's up on screen. If I was over there now, it'd be bad. I think this is the best spot. I'm gonna leave it right here. I think this is good. Here's what I will do. I'll make it a little bit smaller though. How about that? I'll meet you halfway.
All right. Flaps earning their paycheck today, getting through kind of that max stressing.
Definitely things looking good so far. We're about 2 minutes out now from Starship becoming transonic.
One cool thing to note as we get some
Very
of those
close.
views showing kind of the whole length of the ship, one of the changes we made after Flight 6 was to change the tile line a little bit. So we had kind of scaled back the number of tiles significantly, as when we go to catch these ships, you don't want to, I think as Elon said, you don't want to shuck the ship as you catch it and knock all those tiles off. So we knew we were going to have to kind of peel back that layer a little bit. And the first time we did it was on Flight 6, and we saw kind of wrinkling and dimples almost in the ship as we were creating these hot spots in the uneven parts of the heat shield. And so to kind of address that, we smoothed it out. That's why you've got kind of that nice smoothed out black line now on the ship. And just looking at it, we can see kind of a little bit of hot spot, a little bit of warping almost. Near the payload door, you can see a little bit of colored patina up above it, but we don't see those kind of deep, almost, they almost look like gouges on that. So it looks like that's been pretty successful. So
Perfect.
all right, we are less than a minute away from hitting transonic. Again, pretty soon our kind of our forward velocity is going to look like it's kind of falling off a cliff, and Starship will look like it's falling off a cliff as we essentially go into our belly flop. If you watched some of the high altitude tests or suborbital campaigns, we were able to test that. It was a pretty fundamental, like, can this thing actually fly? And we were able to prove that out with that suborbital campaign. And that's what we're about to see shortly here.
Soon enough. Soon enough. We're coming in soon enough. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you live in the middle of the Indian Ocean, you should now get in your bunker, because this thing is going to be landing soon in the Indian Ocean. So if that's where you live, then you should, get in your basement. I don't know. Get under your bed, perhaps. This thing's coming in hot. It's coming down fast. Be careful.
All right, so at this point, we've dropped below the speed of sound. So
really,
Starship itself is subsonic. We are starting to chill the engines for a landing burn attempt. Landing flip supposed to start in a little over 2 minutes.
Okay.
Subsonic Indian Ocean, we're on our way.
Starship is subsonic.
Subsonic.
There we go. Farewell, space.
That thing is just burnt to hell. Look at that.
All right, so coming up in just a little under 2 minutes, so we're going to do the flip and the burn. So we're only using those 3 center Raptor engines, the sea levels, the ones that can kind of gimbal, that can move around and steer. Dipping the nose down a little bit. Got 2 of our engines chilled in, waiting on 1 more.
Looks like they
So
lost
again,
a lot of
we'll
those.
attempt to use 3 burns for that initial flip. We eventually go down to just 2 Raptors for the end of the landing burn.
We're missing a couple hexagons here. Not good.
Just about 1 minute now from that landing flip and landing burn start.
Not good. This entire fin here is just beat to hell. Look at that thing. Jeez. It's having a rough time. Not good. But hey, you know, actually good. It is good because they said that they're going to be
Structurally, we're looking
doing their
good.
testing.
Got good pressures in our nose cone for everything.
They're look, you can
About
see we're
30
coming in
seconds.
hot.
So again, we're going to look for the flip. So Starship's doing its belly flop right now. We're going to do the flip. Swing out. Let's punch through some clouds first.
Flip it. Flip it. This is nuts. This is nuts.
Here we go.
Starship landing burn startup.
Okay. Oh,
Seeing 3 engines. There's our flip.
whoa! Right on top of the buoy too.
There's a buoy.
Wow. In the middle of the ocean.
There's a splashdown.
Oh no!
Hey.
Good enough. Okay.
Oh, man. Yeah. Farewell, Ship 37. Thank you,
Goodbye,
buoy
ship.
cam. Landing flip, landing burn. Splash out of the Indian Ocean. There we go.
Right on target at least.
All right. That was pretty awesome.
Incredible
This is
flight
cool, right?
today for both Ship and Booster.
Yeah, really incredible. So obviously we're excited here. It looks like everybody's excited over there. Tyler, how's it going over in Hawthorne?
We are super excited here in Hawthorne. It was another exciting Starship flight test in the books, and we hope you enjoyed those Starlink views. So congratulations to the team at Starbase and everyone here and around the company. So many employees have contributed enormously to the Starship program as we continue to iterate and make progress towards a multi-planetary future. So that's going to wrap it up for us here in Hawthorne. Thank you to everyone for tuning in today. It was great being with you today. Back to you guys.
High fives all around.
That was absolutely incredible. Huge congrats to all the teams here. Again, we lifted off from Starbase, Texas, right at the top of our window at 6:30 p.m. Central Time. We saw Booster successfully lift us up through ascent, had a successful hot staging where ship continued on with its suborbital trajectory. Booster came back down, had that boost back burn, and a successful landing burn with that unique engine configuration as well.
Yeah, and then ship continued on its way, made it all.
Rip to all 10 Indians that were on board. No, dude, no, there were no Indians or anybody. Nobody was on the spaceship.
And then on entry, we probably gave it a little bit of extra time in the oven, but made it all the way through re-entry. All 3 engines started up, landing flip, splashdown in the Indian Ocean. Promised maximum excitement. Starship delivered.
Most
so
definitely.
Congratulations, all of our teammates here at SpaceX. It's been a year. Everybody that's worked on this program, this is what we're working for. So big congrats to all of them. Thank you to all of our future customers, too, for your support.
And we'd also like to thank the fine people of Cameron County, including the residents of its newest city, Starbase, as well as the Coast Guard, the Federal Aviation Administration, the Government of Mexico, and the Australian Space Agency.
Be sure to stay tuned to SpaceX on X for updates.
And Donald Trump.
More of the views. This is just a tiny amount of the views. We have so many views that we didn't get to feature on the broadcast. So we're going to be going through that over the next couple of days, and we'll be posting it all there.
Yeah, if you're interested in more launch coverage, head on over to spacex.com/launches for the most up-to-date information. In fact, we actually recently rolled out a new departure board featuring our upcoming launches with details like mission name, launch and landing site, and liftoff time. So be sure to check it out.
All right. We just launched the world's biggest rocket. Again, dropped a couple satellites off, suborbital.
Incredible payload deploy for today.
Nailed that double header
Good job.
into the ocean, splashdown, time to go through the data. Really crazy cool to hit all those objectives today.
Yeah, huge
Okay.
shout out to all the teams who make this look easy. And thanks to all of you for tuning in, and we will see you back here for Flight 11. Good night.
All right, that was epic. That was totally badass. Ladies and gentlemen, was it supposed to blow up at the very end? Yeah, I do not think it was supposed to blow up at the very end. I don't think that was part of the plan. But I mean, like they said, they got a lot of good data. They were able to land right on top of the buoy, which was just in the middle, random spot in the middle of the Indian Ocean. That's a big deal in the Indian Ocean, middle of nowhere. Ladies and gentlemen, listen, guys, I think it's going to be a wrap for today's show. We did a little bit of a bonus fun hangout session watching this SpaceX rocket on the second half of today's broadcast. I want to say thank you all very much for tuning in today. Like I've been saying all day, I am not going to be here for the next 4 days. So I haven't even looked at the calendar yet. I think we're actually driving on Thursday. So, oh my gosh, it might be 5 days. Guys, I think my next broadcast will be on Sunday. That's a big break. I'm going to try to do Saturday. I'm going to try to get to work on Saturday. I'm a workaholic. I like to work. It actually drives me insane taking vacations or taking time off. It makes me go insane. I like to do what I do. I like to work and I like to be productive. So I'm gonna try to be back on Saturday. But anyway, folks, whenever it is, Saturday, Sunday, thank you guys. Whenever I'll see you then. Saturday, Sunday, I'm not sure exactly, but thank you all very much for the support. I appreciate it, everybody. We had some big super chats. Everybody on Rumble, Matt Morris TV on Rumble, Matt Morris TV on YouTube. Thank you, everybody over here on YouTube. For any updates as they come out over the next couple days, really, this is the best place to be. This is my X page, Matt Morris TV, x.com/Matt Morris TV. That really is the place to be for any updates. And I'll see you guys on Saturday or Sunday. So once again, thank you all very much. Have a great afternoon. Have a great couple of days. Have a great weekend. And I'll see you on the second half of the weekend. Take care, everybody. And once again, thank you all